Hello and welcome back. Today I want to discuss a recent Stalker mod I've been playing which I would go ahead and say is the closest thing that we have at the moment to Stalker 2. I've been live streaming this game over on Twitch, so come join me while I'm live, link is in the description. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for future content. The mod I'm talking about is OGSR and Gunslinger. But what does this mean? OGSR, or Old Good Stalker Remastered, is a 64-bit engine for Stalker. Being 64-bit allows for better performance. The premise of OGSR is to keep the original storyline from Shadow of Chernobyl, but add a lot of cut or additional content to it. Gunslinger is originally a mod for Call of Pripyat, which improves all the animations and models for weapons and consumables. I'll talk more about this in a minute. These two mods have been merged together to provide a game with an in-depth storyline and high-quality visuals. Compared to Stalker Anomaly, this mod is a lot more structured. I'm not saying that you can't do what you want, but it has less of the survival and sandbox aspects of Anomaly. But I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Sometimes knowing exactly what you need to do next is a good thing. Now, the main reason why this mod caught my eye was the gunplay, and I was not disappointed. This game has one of the best feeling gunplays in any Stalker game I played. In fact, I'd probably go as far to say that this is one of the best out of any game I've played. Everything is extremely smooth, from reloading to sprinting. Every gun has just enough inertia to make the gun feel heavy but not too floaty. Speaking of reloading, this game has the best animations of any Stalker game. We are talking about AAA levels of quality for a free game. Take a look. You can see the reason why people have been recently trying to port these animations to Anomaly, as they're just so good. Weapon customization in the game isn't massive, but it's still there. Most guns can fit multiple scopes, a suppressor, and some even a grenade launcher. Speaking of attachments is the huge next point, picture-in-picture scopes. I've said this a few times now, but I think picture-in-picture scopes are the best way to do scopes in video games, as they're the closest to real life. In Anomaly, there is a mod for picture-in-picture scopes, however, the FPS drop from them is so large that they're impossible to use. But thanks to some Stalker magic, picture-in-picture with scopes work in OGSR, and they work well. Obviously there's still going to be a performance decrease when using them, but it isn't too bad. Honestly, just having picture-in-picture adds a whole new level of gameplay to the weapons in the game, as scopes act as if they were real. Unique guns still exist in this mod, like in the original, but they're more interesting here. Most unique variants will add additional features such as extended magazines, lasers, or tactical flashlights, which, may I point out, actually shines a light from the gun. While on this topic, what surprised me while playing was the extreme attention to detail this game has. Like just mentioned, the flashlight on a gun actually shines from the device. There are even animations for turning said lights on with a pressure pad and cables fully modelled. When a gun is at low durability, there's a chance for it to misfire. When you unjam your gun, you actually lose one bullet as it doesn't go off. All of these things mean very little gameplay wise, but show that the developers actually cared when making this. As for gameplay, well, this mod follows the same storyline as Shadow of Chernobyl. The game starts with you seeing the best cutscene in video game history, with one task, to kill s.t.a.l.k.e.r. Despite having the same storyline as the original game, I still highly recommend playing this if you already completed Shadow of Chernobyl, as there's lots of new content that you can explore. During your time, you'll be exploring multiple locations around the zone. Some places are new such as Darkscape, Swamp, and Dead City, but there is less areas than Anomaly. You could argue that this is better as there's less bloat in the form of empty places, but I do always appreciate more places to explore. Speaking of exploration, this mod highly incentivizes it by having secret stashes and side quests in multiple places which can only be found by exploring. I love it when games reward exploration as it makes a place a lot more interesting rather than just being a place to travel from one side to the other. Another thing I appreciate is the majority of the main story quests being voice acted. It may be bad English voice acting, but it is still better than silence. OGSR has a slight emphasis on cars as a form of transport, with them being purchasable from some traders. Now, cars and the X-ray engine is not the best combination, but they can be quite useful when moving loot from one place to another. Now, from how I've talked about it, you think this game is perfect, but unfortunately it does have its flaws. I do not have any major issue with this game, but there is a few things that are quite annoying. First main issue is how the information is presented. I did say there was voice acting, but this is only for the main quests. Every other quest is just reading text, and boy is there a lot of text to read. Before you complain in the comments about how I'm a zoomer brain and can't focus on text for more than 2 seconds, tell me that you expect me to sit down and read this text just for a side quest. I'm sure it'll tell me how to get a stash or something, but honestly I have better things to do. I recommend just skim reading the text, as most of it is just filler for people who are deeply interested in the lore. I understand why it is there, but it's presented in such a harsh way that I would end up skipping most of the text, which ended up with me missing some secrets hidden within. Again, this isn't a major issue, as it's typically only the side quests which have these word dumps, but it is quite tiring. As much as I like the gunplay, there is one small thing that irritates me. When you try to aim down sights after running, there is sometimes a slight delay. It's not a game breaking thing, as most fights you won't be running around, but it can get quite irritating after it happens a few times. Another issue is the audio. The sound design in the game is not bad, but also isn't great. But the main issue is for some reason some sounds are 10 times louder than others, and it's always the worst sounds which are the loudest. For example, the car crash sound just hurts to listen to, which I guess puts more pressure on not crashing a car, but come on. And by far the worst thing is the explosion ringing sound. One grenade going off near you is bad, but for some reason the sounds stack. Combine this with the grenade spam in this game and I was quickly developing tinnitus. Last thing I'll talk about is balance. For reference, I was playing on master difficulty, the second hardest difficulty. It is quite funny as the mod is completely opposite to Anomaly when it comes to balance. In OGSR, mutants are really easy to deal with, while stalkers completely destroy you. It isn't too bad and you hear a voice line when someone throws a grenade, but there will be some times where you will be blown out of the zone. Honestly, I kind of prefer this. It isn't the best solution, but I prefer the fact that I can kill a mutant effectively with most rounds rather than a dog absorbing a whole AK magazine. Also, OGSR has some sort of mutant bleeding which helps. If stalkers were just nerfed a bit in OGSR, it would be a lot better. So that was my recommendation for the OGSR and Gunslinger mod. I do highly recommend you check it out. Download is in the description. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for future content. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.